and welcome back. In today's video, I am going to be making a lobster tail bustle. Now I am making this bustle because I am going to be recreating this dress. This is Mina's mint green leaf embroidered dress from the movie Bram Stoker's Dracula. The year based off this look is 1880s. It is in the Victorian style, and I need to ensure that I'm going to have the 1880s silhouette shape, enhancing the buttocks area, giving the iconic 1880s silhouette. Now I do not have a pattern for making a lobster tail bustle. Through all of my research, I have found one video in particular that has made it easy for my mind to understand, and this is the video that I am using to draft my pattern. Luckily for me, she did place all of her cutout pattern pieces on a grid, making it easier for me to be able to eyeball the pattern. So taking those pieces in mind with the grid and my measurements, I was able to draft my own pattern. Now I did do this off camera because frankly I didn't know what I was doing, so I don't have any footage for that. This is my first time ever making a lobster tail bustle, so I'm not really expecting the highest results, but I'm still going to give it a try because in order to make the dress that I want to make, I need the lobster tail bustle. Now the fabric that I'm going to be using to make this bustle is this beige linen fabric. I really don't have anything else available right now with enough yardage, and as it's my first one, I don't expect it to go so great, so that's what I'm using. Now this fabric does fray like nobody's business, so because of that, I am going to make sure that I do a French seam or a rolled hem on all of the edges before I attach them all together. But I am getting a little bit ahead of myself. The first thing I need to do is go upstairs to my table, lay my fabric out, put the pattern pieces that I drafted on the fabric, cut it all out, and then bring it back downstairs where my sewing machine is so that I can do the rolled hem on all of the edges. It is not going to be very good for me to have any raw edges on account of the fraying. If the fabric frays too much, it will cause the seams to become undone, and that is not a thing that I want. So now I have all of my pattern pieces cut out. Off camera, I went ahead and just did the hem. I figured it'd be much easier to just go ahead and get it done and then move on to my next step, which is assembling everything. Now I am downstairs and I am working with a much smaller surface area. I'm kind of working on top of my ironing board. All right, here are my front or front side pieces with the darts already put in and the edges hemmed. Here are my back pieces. There are two of these. And this is my inner back piece. This is the piece that is going to keep the tension on the back bustle part. Let me see if I can explain that a little better. All right, I went ahead and sewed the back two pieces together. So this is going to be my back bustle, like this. This is my inner back piece. It is going to be laid wrong sides together over the back piece. And when I put the bones in, so it's going to connect here. This is the part that's going against my legs. It'll connect here, holding the tension from where the bones are going to be popping this out. And then for the front piece, it is going to attach on either side. Uh-oh. Yep, I did that wrong. All right, well, I just realized that I did this wrong. I ended up giving myself two right pieces instead of a right and a left. I am not going to be able to seam rip this because of the linen. It's just going to put holes in it. I need to cut another piece, and I'll be right back. Okay, I went ahead, cut out another front panel and hemmed the edges and added the darts. This is the piece that I messed up on. I ended up putting it inside out, and that was the issue there. Probably should move that. All right, now that is correct. I have my two front pieces, which will connect to the inner back piece, which will connect to the back bustle. But before I do any of this, I need to add my boning channels. Now again, because this fabric frays so badly, I went ahead and I sewed on the edges. Look, you can see how bad this frays. I do need to kind of cut that a bit. All right, I have my boning channels. There are 6 of them. I'm going to go ahead and just move all these other pieces. Oh, also, ruffle. I made a ruffle. I'm going to start with my very bottom boning channel. So I'm going to fold it over like so, and I'm going to place it about an inch above where the edge is. Now that I have made it over to this edge, doing my best to keep it lined up at that about inch on the bottom, I'm going to place my last pin, and as I sew it on, whenever I get to the edge, I'm going to leave this whole side undone. I will sew it to the edge, but I want to make sure to leave the edge open so that I can thread my boning in. And now I am just going to continue adding the rest of the boning channels until they are all attached. Now I have all of my boning channels pinned on. I'm going to go ahead and sew it in place. Alright, all of my bones have been inserted into the lobster tail, and it is starting to look like a lobster tail. Now I have the front piece and the top back sewn on to the right side. So now what I need to do, and it's going to be a little difficult because I already put the bones in, but it'll be fine, I'll just finagle it, is I need to take the left side of the front, pin it, and then take the top back portion, flipping it around, pinning it and sewing it in place. Then I'll have to flip the tail inside out. Alright, so starting here, and then I'm going to pull the inner back piece over. Alright, now I'm going to sew this in place. Alright, my lobster tail bustle is now done. It took about 2 days, but in total it was 6 to 7 hours. I kind of lost track of the hours, but it really didn't take that long to come together. The hardest part for me was figuring out how to get the boning inside of the boning channels because the fabric kept fraying, so it was sticking to the end of the boning, which was tearing apart the boning. I did eventually figure it out where I took cling wrap and I wrapped it around the edge before shoving it in. It made it much easier, and there was no issues. To close the bustle up, I ended up using 2 buttons instead of using ties. And I used 2 buttons because I underestimated the actual size of myself. So I ended up sewing 5 buttonholes, and then I just need to secure that down. So 2 buttons. Now the front, the right and the left, the darts don't line up, but for me that's not really a big deal. It's a little bulgy, like on the sides, which again isn't a big deal. I mean, it gives the lobster tail, which is the whole point. Now this is my first time ever making a bustle like this. I've only ever experimented making basically a butt pillow. I did not expect that this would turn out to be 100% perfect, as 1, I didn't have a pattern, 2, I basically drafted a pattern, copying from a video that I saw. Well, I guess there's only the two. I do not have an era-appropriate corset, meaning an 1880s Victorian style corset. This is the one that I had the most similar. And I made this to go with a steampunk outfit, and steampunk was the Western style of the Victorian era. So it's historically adjacent. The next thing I need to do is make a petticoat to go over the lobster tail, which will help to hide the boning in the back so it doesn't show through the dress. And since the petticoat is just basically a giant circle skirt, I don't really feel the need to document that on camera, so I will be doing that off camera. So if I were to rate the lobster tail bustle that I made, I would give it a 6 out of 10. Maybe a 7. It's a lobster tail. You know, I mean, it is what it is. I will likely make another one in the near future, but as of for right now, it is going to serve the purpose of which I need it to. And now that this is done, it is time to finally move on to making the dress. As I stated earlier in this video, the dress that I am going to be making is a recreation from Bram Stoker's Dracula, Mina's mint green leaf embroidered dress. I cannot find a recreation of that dress. I found one. It was for sale only. There were only 3 pictures, and the sale price was like $5,000. There are no tutorials or videos or online blogs talking about the recreation process for this dress. So I'm going to have to completely figure out how to do this by myself with no pattern and the delusional willingness to do so. So I suppose there is no better time than now to get started making the dress. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below. If you're not already, consider subscribing. I post every Wednesday. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me while I made this lobster tail, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!